Hi everybody. I thought I would quickly make a little video tutorial just to kind of refresh, or if you're seeing this for the first time, learn the new Work Center exemption process. Um, there is quite a number of changes happening at the moment with the way we're processing exemptions and inquiries. All of them are endeavoring to work to reduce the double handling of inquiries and the time that it's taking to get to the program coordinators to be actioned, and hopefully, I guess ultimately, allow program coordinators more time to assess. So it's maybe not unrealistic to think that we could potentially extend the time to, maybe 6 days or 7 days instead of 5. We'll just have to wait and see. But I certainly think there's a lot of advantages to using this new system. So what's going to happen is you're going to get an email that is going to look like this: USQ admin, no reply, credit transfer request has been assigned to you. In that, it will have the student's number and the name, and then there will be a direct link to where you need to go. So we'll click that. And this is how it looks for the external. Now, as a program coordinator, you will not see either of these buttons. You will just see external or internal self-reported course links. Now, very rarely would a program coordinator be sent an internal self-reported course because admin staff can generally do that just by looking at the handbook and comparing one for one. That being said, if a student studied a long time ago or we're not sure, on a rare occasion you might see one that's internal, and I will quickly show you that, but we're not going to focus too much on it, and it is pretty similar. So the first thing that you're going to notice is the program name. So that's, that's the one that they're asking for the credit in, or exemptions in. Over here, external organization ID, don't worry too much about that. It's an internal thing, but this is the university or institution, if you will, that the credit application is being requested for. Again, the student's name, the admit term, student number, student name. Please don't worry about any of these things. Now, allocated to, this is where we're going to put your staff ID in to generate that email to you to say you have a credit application. And then once you are complete with the rest of the stuff below, you're going to put in our details to generate an email back to us. I have created a little cheat sheet that I will get around to everybody. You might want to print it out and just sticky tape it to your monitor. It can be a bit cumbersome to have to come in here, wait for it to load, and then type in our first name and at least part of our last name, and then click the username. One thing to be aware of is that this is a capitals only system, so if I do my lowercase u, it's not going to work. Once you hit the, once you put in the correct numbers, and you click anywhere else, it will automatically pull up the correct person's name for you to just double check. Okay, so down here we have the course name of what they've studied. So this one's a grad dip of civil engineering. And this is what they believe to be the equivalent. Now, unfortunately, there's a great deal of students who don't put what they want or what they think they should get, maybe because they're not sure, whatever the case may be. So then over here there's a tick box for approve or reject, and then outcome. So obviously if you reject it, we have a number of different codes that you can file that under, and you would just put the most apt one, or, so there's no transcript, no handbook entry. You could put whatever other reason as well. Now, if you hit approve, it's going to give you two options then. So I'll just click around here so that comes up. Okay, so exemption or transfer of credit. You're never going to use this under an external application, really. The only time that Yeah, the way the system's currently set up, I don't think you would ever use this, but I do believe it's just a generic follow over from what we use over here. So you would put exemption. Now, if it's a one-for-one subject, so they've put that they've done MEC 1234 at Griffith and it's equivalent to MEC 1234 here, you would just put approve exemption and then do your first sign off here. That will generate your name. So this is your digital signature. It's coming up with your name based on the fact that you've logged into this system under your single sign-on credentials. And then you would come up here and, like I said, put in my number or any of the other student support numbers to generate that email, and then you would come down and hit save. You can also, so sometimes, just because I'm a bit pedantic about saving things, and let's say that you approved for exemption, but there wasn't, it was this scenario here exactly like this. If it's just one subject you approve, you could put ENG 1901 and then first sign off and save just to make sure it retains the information, then come back up here and put in student support numbers. Alternatively, you could, well, it's preferred that if you're going to have more than one exemption and it's not been specified here, that you come in and create a new note. So plus is new note, add a new row. Minus is to take it away if you accidentally create too many. And in that case, you would put ENG 1901, MEC 234, ELE 1 blah blah, and so forth. So by putting it in that list, it's going to be much easier for the admissions team to add these courses onto the student's transcript by the way that they do that. And then, so once you've added in your comments, you would go, again, first sign off, put in my numbers and save, or you can save it and then go back and do your sign off and you're allocated to. So it just depends on how you like to work. I've had too many things go wrong where I've typed a big huge comment and system, like my computer system just froze or something and I've lost that note. So I'm pretty pedantic about saving and then finalizing it afterwards. And then you will notice that once you hit sign off, it blocks this from being changed. So if you need to go back, you can just untick it and it opens this back up. You can also click this little view all button, which will then bring up all previous comments. So, for example, in this case, admissions have asked us to process and advise of possible credits. I sent it to Vizantha and she needed the NUSA assessment. And then I then showed this to Natik and he, well, that was actually me putting it in, not Natik, but put in some fake credits and yeah, so just been having a little play with it. So you can go back to view one and just view your current comment. Now, one of the things that I believe to be the most amazing aspect or feature of this new system is the ability to go on and see other applications this particular student has made. So oftentimes we will see 1 of 4, 1 of 5, and we can then go through and look at what exactly they applied for, what exactly they got, and what attachments, which I haven't gotten to yet, but what attachments they added, because I know that especially in engineering, program coordinators, they assess holistically based off of a number of criteria. And so you may just want to go and have a quick flick through here and see what else that they've asked for, see if they've asked for the exact same thing before and been rejected, because we don't want to be inconsistent. And we know that students do sometimes think that, oh, well, maybe they've changed their mind, will give it to me on Friday, but not on Monday. So you may also want to see that, you know, a student came from the AD&G or the BINs and they got X, Y, and Z. And then you know, they've stayed within the same major, but maybe they've gone up or down a program. You may want to go and see what another program coordinator did, and maybe you don't agree with it, but maybe you want to go talk to them and see if there was something else that pushed them over the edge of giving that student the exemption. So, you know, it's a much better way of keeping track of where exemptions are and who's giving them, and down the road in a couple years, like I just had Andrew Maxwell wanted to look at exemptions from 2013 and they were stored in trim, which is quite painful to obtain. But as a result of being able to obtain those documents, Andrew reckons the student was eligible for ELE 1911 back in 2013 and didn't get it. So this system here, all of this will always be in this one area, at least until the USQ decides to make another system, but at least for now, you would be able to see that that kind of track record paper trail. So the last thing that I haven't spoke about yet is the supporting documentation. So we have been in discussions about the supporting documentation area and what we're going to do with it. It's pretty clear that I can tell from this that the student hasn't provided enough. It looks like he's provided a transcript for semester 1 and 2 and 3, but chances are there's no course outlines there, and as Vasantha said, she needed the NUSA documents. So, you know, look, sometimes we are going to miss that a NUSA assessment is required. So if that happens, just as Vasantha's done here, you would just make a new comment, say, please provide the NUSA assessment for this institution, and then assign it back to whomever sent it to you in the first place, which would, you know, there would be some kind of note where we would say, can you please assess this, so you'd know who to send it back to, and then just hit save. And then once we have that information you requested, whether it be the NUSA or whether it be a resume for that one-off work experience thing or any other thing that you are looking for that hasn't been provided, you can just make this little note here and pop in our details and hit save, and we'll go and get it and send it back to you, in which case you'll get an email alerting you to this. So, but essentially all program coordinators over the, at least, you know, they're supposed to already have access, but I have found with Natik and Vasantha already that there's been a few issues with getting access to these documents, which required trim permission. However, that being said, in both instances, I took a screenshot of the error, sent it off to Heather, I can't remember her last name, and she's pretty much fixed them immediately. So there's, you know, there may be a few growing pains, but from my experience so far, it's been very quick to be resolved. So you would click on this, and what's going to happen is, depending on what system you're, what browser you're using, you will either be accessing your downloads via this way, or Google Chrome, I think, puts it kind of down over here. But this is going to say, what do you want to do with it? And, you know, in most cases, if there's over 5, we're going to try to combine them, continue doing the combining. And so, which case, we will probably find a single naming convention, i.e. combined.pdf, as I think most of us have already been doing, and you can just open that one and not bother saving it. So, I'm not an Internet Explorer person, so oh, there we go. So yeah, in this case he's provided a certified copy of his transcript, but no course outlines in this particular document. So I've lost my train of thought, sorry. So yeah, if there is certainly more than 5 documents, we will endeavor to combine them and add an attachment and put them in here so you can see them. I suppose the biggest thing that we need to kind of be considerate of is that we don't want to be making duplicate documents. So, you know, if we're downloading the same documents and combining them, then re-uploading them, that is, you know, making a duplicate, and it's double handling, which, you know, cuts into the time that program coordinators also have to, I suppose, assess the documents. So, you know, but I also know that it is time consuming to click on each one of these, and that is probably one of my biggest complaints, is that I can't just, you know, maybe tick a box that says select all download. So yeah, if there's a numerous amount of documents, we will continue combining them into one. And should you decide that you would prefer to provide an enrollment guide with the exemptions on it, you are welcome to add an attachment and upload that enrollment guide here, and then just in the comments say, please see the enrollment guide. You can do the first sign-off still. You can still allocate it back to us. You can still put approve exemption. And then what we can do is go back into the enrollment guide and see what you have assigned to the student as an exemption, and we can type it here. The only, I guess, downfall to using that methodology is that you're not going to see what we've actually inputted into the system. So if you want to manually enter each course in, then you know 100% that that's what you've written, and then I don't have a reason to come back in and touch anything else. But if you're content to allow us to just open up an enrollment guide that you've done and manually enter them one by one the way I've done down here, and you find that that's quicker or easier, I think we're quite happy to try to work with you for whatever workflow works best with you. So, you know, as I said, you just add an attachment and use your Windows Explorer system to navigate to the file and open it. And then just allocate it back to us and save, and then we would get it back and we would see that there was an enrollment guide there, and then type in the codes, second sign off, and then send it off to be processed by admissions or fees and enrollments. So anyway, that is pretty much the whole gist of this system and what you would need to be using. None of this down here is relevant other than the save button, so don't worry about that, and don't worry about ever ticking any of these off. So any questions, feel free to pop by my desk or give me a call and I'll come see you at your desk. Obviously, if you're in Springfield, that's probably not going to happen, but I can Zoom with you if that's what you'd like. So good luck, and I hope that you do see the value in this system in the long run. All right, well, have a good day. Thanks. Bye.